guys, welcome back to Simply Fortnite. I'm your host Sam, and today I have something special for you guys. We're going to be going all the way back to Season 1, all the way up to Chapter 2 Season 1, and we're going to go through the entire Fortnite story, break it down for you guys so you can get fully up to speed going into this next season and going fully into this next chapter storyline. So I'm just going to jump right into it for you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. If you do, make sure to drop a like to show your support. Let me know what your favourite season is down below in the comments, and let's get right into this. The island of Fortnite began mainly peacefully, made up of only a few small towns, including Pleasant Park, Salty Springs, and Retail Row. Over time, the island began to develop and evolve as cities such as Tilted Towers were built, mine shafts started to be explored down at Shifty Shafts, and new homes were made at Snobby Shores. However, soon after, things began to go wrong. The inhabitants spotted a bright light in the sky moving closer and closer down towards the island as they watched this from various telescope points across the map. Eventually, the islanders discovered this bright light was in fact a meteorite. Small meteorites began to come down across the island, causing damage to many structures, including the newly built cinema park Risky Reels. However, the biggest meteorite strike came down at Dusty Depot, creating a massive crater, giving it its new name, Dusty Divot. The landing also allowed hot rocks to be spread across the island, which when consumed gave the user special anti-gravitational abilities. A large chunk of what was seemingly the meteor remained at Dusty Divot, leading to the government creating a perimeter and a research centre around it. However, this meteor would in fact turn out to be something far more sinister. Following this, a high-budget superhero film began filming with a group of actors across the island. The plot of this film revolves around a supervillain known as Omega who escaped prison after it was hit by a chunk of a meteor. For the production of this film, sets appeared across the island, including various green screens, as well as a large villain lair for Omega, which would go on to be used for a much bigger purpose. Weeks later, the true nature of the meteor in Dusty Divot was in fact revealed as a pod for the mysterious visitor who began to emerge from it. While initially his intentions were unknown, we went on to learn they were not friendly at all. The visitor later broke into Omega's lair from the film set, where it was discovered that the rocket was far more functional than initially believed, as the visitor was able to modify it to make it capable of space travel. While the visitor's initial intention for this rocket when launched was for it to hit Tilted Towers, it was in fact teleported away at the last second after taking off and began to travel around the map through various rifts and creating a massive explosion of a rift in the sky, which goes on to bring various items from the real world into the Fortnite world and vice versa. While exploring the Californian desert, the Drift Skin discovers a giant Durburger before taken by a rift into the island. Several of the characters go on to befriend Drift and taking him on a massive road trip to new places across the island, meeting new people while Drift upgrades his suit throughout. Eventually, the sky rift began to shrink and started blasting giant purple lightning bolts onto a patch in Paradise Palms, creating the mysterious cube, causing the rift to finally fully disappear weeks after it had initially appeared. The cube made its way across the island, slowly rolling its way towards Loot Lake, where it eventually sank in, dissolving, creating a bouncy surface on the water. After some time passed, the cube suddenly separated from the lake and re-emerged under the lake in the center of Loot Lake, causing it to begin to float, leaving a massive whirlpool in the lake center, forming what eventually became Leaky Lake. It was at this time one of the biggest mysteries in Fortnite stories began. A bunker was built under Wailing Woods. Its contents were never in fact revealed to this day, as the bunker was never opened. With this original map gone, this is seemingly something we will never see explained. Over a period of a few weeks, the floating island that had formed from the center of Loot Lake began to travel to multiple corrupted areas around the map where it collected energy from its runes, draining them of their power, and after completing its path, the island collected energy from all the runes at once, causing them to drop and then returned to the lake. Between the power of the runes and the cube, the energy overloaded, destroying the floating island and creating cube shards, able to summon mysterious cube-based monsters. As it ran out of energy, the cube eventually exploded, taking any nearby witnesses to the in-between, a mysterious light-based dimension where, after returning from which, the islanders found that Leaky Lake had been somewhat reformed while the remaining fragments of the cube were gone. Meanwhile, as events unfolded with the cube, a robot known as AIM started popping up at various chunks of the island, spying on its residents. This robot is a big, open-ended mystery of the storyline, however many believe it was sent by a mysterious organization which seems to work in the background of Fortnite, creating various locations and items such as the slipstreams, which seem to pop up with no explanation at all. But there was still no break for the islanders, as a massive iceberg was spotted just off the coast, moving closer and closer by the day. As the spawn island was covered in snow and the ocean edges began to freeze, it was clear winter was quickly approaching. Eventually, the iceberg collided right into the island, with Sergeant Winter atop of it, ready to declare war with his icy army. Around this time, the block appeared, crushing Risky Reels, an area which was totally rebuilt on a regular basis with what was actually fan-designed points of interest. Throughout the winter, the Ice King and Queen were unthawed from their thrones, while the dangerous The Prisoner also began to unthaw. The Ice King used his magic to form a massive snowstorm, covering the map in an effort to keep him frozen. The Ice King and Queen began to attempt to take power over the island at this time, releasing ice shards around the map to release their Ice Legion soldiers, which, despite their effort, the Prisoner was able to defrost and escape using a stolen key from the tower to unlock his change and regain his power. As a side note, at this time the artist Marshmallow conducted a concert inside the world at Pleasant Park, while fissures also started appearing on the map, causing only the destruction of our building at Tilted Towers. A group of pirates, including the Black Heart, were rapidly approaching the island in search of treasure, setting up a base at Lazy Lagoon, invading across the map, creating pirate outposts. Meanwhile, a volcano was formed as a dwelling for the Prisoner and his army, the creation of which caused the destruction of Wailing Woods, as this was in fact made on top of it. At this point, a jungle began to mysteriously and rapidly grow across the northeast portion of the map, covering Tomato Temple and destroying the motel. Houses across Snobby Shores were at this time invaded by Vikings one by one, until the owner of one house turned his house into a fortress, managing to fend off the legions. The government were at this time attempting to find out the secrets of the map and try to hunt down the vault, conducting various digs at various locations before discovering what they were looking for under the middle of Loot Lake. In order to allow the opening of the vault, runes appeared across the map which, when interacted with by the islanders in the correct way, allowed them to function as a key to unlock the vault bit by bit. Once it was fully opened, players were sucked in and taken back to the in-between dimension, where multiple pillars shows different vaulted items. Players had to break the weapon free of their choice, with the first to break being returned to the world. This was in fact the drum gun. Following their second escape from this dimension, they discovered a thick fog was coating the map and the volcano had erupted, destroying parts of Retail Row, Polar Peak, and the entirety of Tilted Towers. Two of our favourite characters, Peely and Jonesy, were able to escape the explosion by hiding in a bunker within the mountain. They were enjoying their time together until they discovered the food had ran out. A long period of time passed until the two are freed, where they discovered Tilted Towers had been rebuilt as Neo Tilted. Mega Mall had been built in the ruins of Retail Row, and most of the volcano was destroyed, with the pressure plant being built in its place. Slipstreams were also built as a new way of getting around the map, allowing the islanders to fly through the air to get around. This new world was powered by energy coming from the vault. In this time, it's clear a long period has passed, as Jonesy had in fact grown a long beard and used Peely as a smoothie for food and his skin as a cape. Over time, the Singularity built a giant robot known as Mecha to tackle the incoming threat of a monster, clearly preparing to escape from Polar Peak. Eventually, the monster escaped, traveling the island. However, the Mecha robot was activated in time to fight off and defeat the monster in a long fight using a giant sword hidden in a statue near Neo tilted as its final weapon to deliver the finishing blow before the robot eventually took off and left into space. A large explosion went on to occur at Loot Lake, causing major alterations to the timeline. Some locations were swapped with alternate versions of themselves over the period of this season. Dusty Divot was replaced by the original depot, for example. Next few months, the scientists created rift beacons, placing them across the map, making changes to major areas, bringing in alternate and new areas such as Pandora from the Borderlands franchise, and Gotham City in the Fortnite x Batman crossover event. Eventually, the scientists gave up with these beacons and began to construct a rocket, after which the end event occurred with its activation, causing the entire map to be sucked in to a giant black hole. Eventually, days later, everything and everyone emerged from the black hole on the other side in a new dimension, allowing them to discover a new island, which they have gone on to explore and battle within, discovering new things and places of their new world. Chaos Agent has been seen analysing a weather report showing a large storm is incoming towards the island. Meanwhile, a magnetic crane has arrived at Risky Reels, beginning to take cars away. Police have blocked the drive-in and government diggers has arrived. As of yet, it is unclear just what the government are looking for under Risky Reels. And that brings us up to the Fortnite story up to week 8 of Chapter 2, Season 1. I really hope you guys have enjoyed the video and this breakdown of the story. If you have, be sure to drop a like to show your support. Let us know what you think is buried beneath Risky Reels in the comments below, and subscribe if you have learned something new here. I'll see you all on the battle bus. Bye!